Hey everyone, this is Tell the Truth Sports Radio, and I gotta tell the truth about how I gotta eat humble pie. Oh man, the 76ers got beat. I guaranteed the 76ers to win and play to one of the Bucks and Nets, and I'm gonna tell you why I was right about the Bucks because I gave you scenarios how the Nets could win and how the Bucks could win, and the Bucks followed those scenarios. But before I get to that, let me get to the debacle in Philly. And it's not a debacle if you're an Atlanta Hawks fan. You're excited. But I'm going to take Philly's perspective. It was a tight game. A lot of lead changes. It was going back and forth. A really intense, great game. Trae Young had made two shots at this time. So I think it's 2 for 17. He was really struggling. Herder kept him in the game. But Tobias scored and won 81-77 in the fourth quarter. I said, okay, Sixers can build this lead. The fans going crazy. Let's start to prepare. I start to prepare my notes for the Sixers and the Bucks. The big matchup, old school matchup. No. Uh, uh, they hit a big three, Herder, and it's back and forth. And then the Hawks take the lead on Gallinari's shot. And this is the biggest play of the game. Ben Simmons makes a move on Gallinari, spins. He has a wide open dunk. He passes up the dunk. It's 88-87. He passes up the dunk to pass the ball to Thibault, who gets fouled, and he only makes one. He passes up an open dunk where nobody's under the basket. I couldn't, but I don't care about pressure. That is ridiculous. Okay. And he misses. And then the Hawks led the rest of the game. Another alley-oop. Trae Young, as bad as he played in them first three quarters, fourth quarter, he played smart. And he was able to get around his defender and throw that alley-oop to Capella or Collins over and over and over, and the Sixers made no adjustments. And then Trae Young hits a long three-pointer to give him a 6-point lead. And then after that, they're going back and forth. And then Tobias Harris scores on a layup. He missed a lot of layups, by the way. It's 93-92, Atlanta Hawks. But then Thibault fouls Herder. And Herder makes all 3-point shots with minute 34 left. And then the Sixers have the ball, and Embiid had a wide open three, and he passes it up, trying to go inside, spins on Gallinari steals the ball. They throw it ahead to him for a dunk, and they were up 6, and that pretty much ended the game. And Gallinari, who played well, played very, very well. And in game sevens, you got to have the second guy play well in Herder, 27 points. The role players well. Collins, 14 points and 16 rebounds, and Collins played tough defense, hard-nosed rebounding. That's the kind of game you want out of your power forward / center. Gallinari had 17 points. And Young ended up with 21. It's 5 of 23, but he really played smart in the fourth quarter. And Philadelphia blew it. The 76ers were the favorites. I thought they were going to beat the Bucks. I thought because they matched up good with the Bucks with Dwight Howard, who committed a dumb, flagrant foul that kept Atlanta afloat. I warned y'all on my last show. Howard had to play smart, and he didn't. But they did have the personnel to match up with the size of the Bucks. So I'm like, okay, Sixers are going to win, and they didn't win. They lost 3 home games. They lost a road game, which they could have went 3-1 by 18. Okay, series tie. They're up 26 in game 5. You win game 5. Okay, maybe you get game 6 and the Hawks go away. Blowing the 26-point lead on the road, the Hawks come back. The Sixers blow a 26-point home game with a 26-point lead. They blow it. And that gave the Hawks confidence because normally teams that don't have a lot of experience, they get to game 7, it's stage right. But the Hawks said, listen, they're thinking, listen, they already laid a licking on us. We blew game 6 and we showed immaturity, but they showed us, they shot they took their best shot in game 5 and withstood it. So we're not going to get down 26 points. So if it's close, we're the better team when the game is close. That's what they're thinking, and it proved true. I was wrong. I mean, I thought the Hawks were in here. I said they're going to play for respect. They'll push it to 7, good season, and go home. No, the Hawks advanced, and I'm going to give the Hawks a lot of credit. They played with smarts. Nick McMillan coaches behind off. Even as their star player wasn't playing as good, I could tell he was engaged. Unlike Ben Simmons, he mentally stayed engaged. So he was able to make the 3 with confidence, make the free throws, make the plays he had to make, even as he didn't play as good. But Trae Young is now the star. Trae Young's star is rising. Herder's star is rising. And this is the thing, Bogdanovich didn't even play well. So going into the next series, what if he plays well? And they're going to end up playing the Milwaukee because this was a great game that Kevin Durant ended up tying. Like I said, his foot, he was talking about his feet are too big. He did a turnaround jumper. One of his toes was on the line. It was a 2. It goes to overtime. And it wasn't a lot of scoring overtime. The Bucks outscored them 6-2. And they ended up winning 115-111. Giannis was solid. He had 40 points and 13 rebounds and 5 assists. And the 5 assists impressed me. Now, like I was talking about, he didn't believe in his touch. So what he did is he went inside a lot. And he was able to get to the basket. He just put his nose down, said, I might get a couple charges, but I'm going to go to the basket. I do not care. And it showed. And I was impressed. And he had the 40 points. Milton was money. Milton took over the overtime. Milton hit big shot. Every time the Nets would make a run, Milton would hit a big shot. And Brook Lopez paid the Nets back. He came back to haunt his former team. He was a pain in the neck the whole series. 19 points and 8 rebounds, and he had 4 blocks. I did not know he was such a good rim protector. And Holiday, and remember I said, if Holiday hits jump shots, watch out. Holiday hit jump shots. Holiday he hit 2 big threes, and he played well and down the stretch. And Connaughton made 3 threes. So they didn't get a lot from their bench, but they did what they had to do. The biggest culprit of why Brooklyn lost, you get 48 points and 9 rebounds and 6 assists from Kevin Durant, and you don't win. And I don't care about Harden's 22 points. He was the biggest goat of the game because, of course, they see the 4 turnovers, but every time the Nets would get a run, get up 3, get up 5 with a chance to break it open a little bit, get comfortable so you can win the game down stretch, he would turn the ball over with casual. I understand he's got a grade 2 sprain with the hamstring, but he was playing, and he's a veteran. Of all those playoff games, he's throwing casual passes. And I've gotten on him before about that in the past, and the big game-itis really hit Harden again, missing open shots, throwing casual passes. It was just casually dribbling the ball with the shot clock going down, not running anything, not running any set offense. They missed Kyrie Irving. Kyrie and Durant would have took this home, and the Nets would beat the Bucks, and they would have beat the Hawks, and they'd have won the championship. But injury to Kyrie and hurt him. I don't even know if I want to say the injury to Harden hurt him, because if he's healthy, he's got big game-itis. And going forward, the Nets are going to have to figure that out. The Nets are going to have to, in the late games next year in the playoffs, it's got to be Kyrie and KD. And Harden can't really be a part. He's got to be in the game, but he's got to make sure he's not making the big plays because he just can't do it. He just some people are 300 hitters in the regular season in baseball, and they strike out in the postseason. That's who he is. He just can't cut it in the postseason until I see him do it and be a part and be a positive contributor, healthy, get in shape because he was out of shape. That's why he pulled the hamstring. But he did have spite. Towards spitefulness cost him too. When he was in Houston, he spitefully wasn't in shape. That's not professional. Got to be more professional next year. Got to get in the best shape of your life. And you got to show yourself and your teammates that you're going to eliminate some of the casualness. And you're going to go. He played defense pretty good. But the offense, he was too casual, and that cost the Nets. And Joe Smith didn't do a thing in the playoffs. He was horrible in the playoffs. He made 1 3, but he was just bad. He missed every single wide open shot. And I don't really care if he has big regular season games where he's hitting a bunch of threes. All I'm gonna say is, okay, what happens in May and June? Can he do that then? So there's a lot of questions. Dinwiddie, they might have to reset. Now, the Western Conference game 1, that was a great game. Up and down, back and forth. The stars were stars. Paul George, Devin Booker. This was up and down. A lot of three-point shots made. I mean, take a look at the line here. Cousins made a three-point shot. Rondo made two 3-point shots. Kennard made 2 3-point shots. Patrick Beverley even made 1. Batum, Morris, man hit 3. Man hit 3. Jackson hit 4. He didn't play as good. I'll tell you why. Paul George was spectacular, hitting 7 threes. And you look at Phoenix. Booker had 3 3-point shots. Bridges had 2. Crowder had 3 big ones too. Payne hit 1. Johnson hit 1, who played well off the bench. Cameron Johnson, Carolina guy. Craig hit 2 threes. So everybody, this was a good shooting game. But what it came down to is Phoenix pulling away, taking a 6-point lead. Winning the fourth quarter 27-21. And the biggest reason is they played smarter defense, and the Clippers with 3-point shot. They made them, as you can hear me read off the stats. They made them. The problem was they just kept taking them and taking them and taking them and taking them and not going to the basket enough. One time, Reggie Jackson, who didn't play good, had 5 turnovers, just drove in the lane, could have easy layup, tries to kick it out because they were so hell-bent on taking a 3-point shot. And Phoenix was smart enough. They took 2s. You know why? The difference, Ayton, 20 points in the paint. They killed him at the points in the paint. And he was a big reason with 20 points and 9 rebounds. Because what they did, Booker, when he wasn't scoring, he would drive, kick, throw the alley-oop to Ayton, who would catch it and slam it. Or Cameron Payne, who's a slick point guard, would drive in the lane. He was getting around everybody, whether it was a layup or he would just throw that little flip alley-oop in the lane instead of the teardrop to Ayton, who would catch it and dunk. And they kept doing that. And the Clippers didn't play good defense. Maybe it was their legs. But Phoenix was better late. And that was the difference in this game. But the Clippers, man, I tell you, they got a lot of weapons, man. They're hard to guard, especially when if they were driving the ball a little more, and this is where they probably missed Kawhi Leonard. And Paul George was on fire. He had 31 points at the end of 3. Now, he only hit 1 3 in the fourth quarter. He might have got gassed, but he was headed toward a 50-point game. But Morris didn't play as good, and that might have hurt him. Going forward, the Clippers have to be happy because they battled. And they have to just go to basket a little more. But they got to play much better defense because they got points in the paint. The Zubats and Cousins, they played good. but they went to zone and Phoenix easily busted the zone. They're going to have to make Booker uncomfortable. And Crowder was catching the ball in rhythm. Bridges didn't shoot it well, but Bridges was open. And Booker was just, and then they tried to put Patrick Beverley's job is to try to irritate and bother, harass a point guard. Booker's such a smooth scorer. He doesn't even acknowledge Beverley's existence. If you see the moves Beverley made where he would take the shot and he got around Patrick Beverley with ease, your best bet is to try to put George on him and see what happens. But the Suns, when Chris Paul comes back, which could be game 2, if Kawhi Leonard doesn't come back, that's going to be a problem because there'll be 2 superstars to 1.5 because Reggie Jackson's a borderline superstar. But the Jazz was slower, so the Clippers use their speed. The Suns are quicker than the Clippers. And I think the Clippers, I don't want to say didn't realize that, but it was like a culture shock to see how fast they were getting around the Clipper defenders who are good defenders. Payne, especially Payne, he would get around Jackson or any of the guards, Kennard or Mann, whoever's out there. He would quick. He's got a quick step, and then he's got those long arms, and he's to the lane. By the time you realize you need to block the shot, he's already past you with a right-handed layup, and he's left-handed. He can go both ways. It's just a beautiful game. But the Clippers, they've been here before. I think the Suns have to win game 2. But then the Clippers will be down 2-0, and that they don't mind being down 2-0. If Paul doesn't play, I think the Clippers could even the series. But if Paul plays game 2, I think the Suns win. And then what happens after that? The Suns would have to win a game in LA. Because LA don't care. They're 2-0, 1-1. It doesn't matter to them. They just believe they're not going to be knocked out. They're going to be hard to get rid of. But if Kawhi Leonard doesn't play and Paul plays, that's the difference. Because Chris Paul's going to be with him and Booker working together on another level. And Ayton was just better. He was the best big man on the floor. If he's the best big man on the floor and Paul does what he's been doing with Booker, the Clippers really have to shoot well. But they got to go to the basket, too. You can't just shoot. They just put all their energy in shooting threes. They didn't even play any defense. The Clippers are a good defensive team. So I expect better out of the Clippers the next game. But will it be enough? We shall see.